Roderick van Schreven graduated from INSEAD in 1983 and joined the Dutch Foreign Service. He was posted to Venezuela and Brussels, and in 2002 became the Dutch ambassador to Syria. He is now the permanent representative for the Netherlands to the United Nations in Geneva. When people think of diplomats, they think perhaps of grand parties and spying. What do diplomats actually do?
Yeah, you have two different jobs in the diplomatic service, or three. Either you are in the capital, or you are on what we call bilateral embassy. I was in this case for work in Venezuela or in Syria, Damascus. Or the third part is multilateral, that you are accredited to the European Union or the NATO, and there you defend the Dutch interest to the NATO. The most visible for the public is of course what we call the bilateral, is you are ambassador in Syria and you gather information about the country. Is it difficult? Yes, because the media are faster. So the real value added is the fact that you are on the spot, you can speak with a lot of people, and you try then to have something really relevant for your capital. What changed now is that the moment you send your report is always after you have already a report from the media or something else.
Most people who come to INSEAD probably have a commercial career in mind. How did you decide to become a diplomat?
The way we did it, with my girlfriend, now my wife, we decided to travel much more, go to Asia, Africa, in the context of a job. So I went shopping around, had contact with a Swiss company, SGS, with possibility to work in Guatemala. Other things could be a watch industry, Swatch, to work there and to go international. And then the third was foreign affairs. Of course, there you have to go to the ministry and you get all this kind of test trainings and everything. So at a certain moment we had this possibility, and with the background of INSEAD we decided to do the list positive, negative, and at the end it was always more or less in balance. So the last decision was toss a coin, and it was foreign affairs. So there I maybe a little bit disappointing that it was not so strategic as you think. Well, no, what attracted me at that moment, why looking also to foreign affairs, is a kind of idealistic approach that if you work in the public sector, it gives you maybe a personal, more rewarding feeling, although you can have it also elsewhere. But I wanted to do more in the kind of the public sector. But the real decision at the end was just toss a coin.
Some of the places you've been posted to, lots of people would think of as danger postings. What is your family made of them?
Yeah, that's the big problem. We have a quite democratic approach. So we have 5 votes, and I have only 1. In this case, we took the children out. They were too small to really vote. Syria was really aiming at. Then, in order to prepare the children, we decided not to say it and first to get a lot of information. So we got information about the house, about the country, about everything, and that was the first part. Second part, we decided to go by car from the Netherlands to Turkey to Syria in order that they get slowly accustomed to the fact that everything is changing. And that was a quite good choice. Now when you take back, the funny thing is that the 3, they were 8, 11 and 13 when we decided. All 3 have a very strong feeling with Syria and really look at it as a kind of enrichment. You have always one of the 3 is not, in this case all 3. They were very happy.
When you finish one of these postings, do you have a sense of achievement?
You have achievement on a lot of what is totally different when you talk about European dossiers, of a lot of more personal, emotional stories. We had 2 Dutch children have been kidnapped by the father. They stayed 2 years in Syria, kidnapped by the father, and at a certain moment they managed to escape and they came to the embassy. Now then we come along negotiations with the father, but also with the Syrian authorities. This finished by the fact that 6 months after having lived inside the office building, they went back to the Netherlands. Now this is kind of, your role in this is quite small, because you have the mother, the father, you have the authority, but that gives you a feeling of achievement, yes, because it's visible. On other sides, when you look to the reporting, the fact that you inform your capital about Syria, also I think a bilateral embassy, what we say being in Syria or being in Tanzania, it's more easy to have some achievements.
You've been involved in some incredibly important negotiations, like extending the European Union eastwards, but these go on for years and years. And I'm wondering if these are fun or if in fact they're a terrible test of endurance.
It's both, because in order to have fun you are sitting in these boring negotiations, or quite fascinating in a certain moment. The second part is you are a small piece in exactly what you say, a movie, what is changing the history. You are really at the forefront. And when I was afterwards Director General for Foreign Economic Relations, you go with the minister, you go to Russia, you are there in order to discuss about the energy policy, and of course it's the ministers and the other side who do all the job, but you are following it and you see how it works, and that's fascinating. It's the emotional part also in the discussion, the fact that two politicians like each other or dislike each other, has a direct effect on everything. And that you see. You are in the kitchen, as we say in the Netherlands. You follow everything, how you prepare the dishes. And that's let's say the fascinating thing. If you come to the United Nations, what I'm doing now, you have 180 countries discussing about the resolution of violence against women, for example. Put it there. And there you really discuss about one word. And yeah, that's not easy. You must keep yourself motivated to spend 6 hours on one word sometimes. Then you ask what kind of peoples you want. I think, like in everything, it's not so different from business. You must be motivated by the job. You must feel this objective saying we want to have a resolution of, for example, violence against women. We want to engage also the countries like India or the Arab countries. That must be your feeling, yes, if I achieve this, it's a small step forward, but step forward.
Picking up on that thought, what kind of people make good diplomats?
The problem is you must be extremely flexible. You jump from being a representative of your country in Chile, and then go back to the Netherlands where you are on your bike as civil servant, again back to the basics of public service. That's one part. The second part is, the moment you arrive in the country, you need a lot of what we call intercultural skills. You must like it. You must, if you go to Chile, you must like to go outside and to try to understand. So you have this flexibility because you really change totally from job. And when you say what is the, why I change also to foreign affairs, you change each 4 years totally from job. You stay in the same company. You build on your experience without having to go this horrible period of 6 months where you are looking to all the advertising and looking what are the possibilities, and then do I go to an interview, was the interview good or not. But coming back to the beginning, and then you come back to the private life, you ask the same from your family. You ask the family to be totally at ease in the Netherlands, enjoy it and so on, and suddenly you take the whole family and you go to Syria. What for the children and for the partner is quite a challenge.